This video tutorial provides users with a guide for setting up LASX Easy Mode to simplify the user interface. For a variety of reasons, it often makes sense for a Leica customer to transition from Leica's older version of basic imaging software called LAS to the more modern version called LASX. That said, LASX software supports many microscopes, including our fully motorized platforms, and the default interface when you install this software includes features that are at times not applicable for manual operation. For example, the default interface includes a channel selection region in the middle of the software, which is primarily designed to help with multi-channel imaging, such as fluorescence. Furthermore, the default interface requires users to press live to activate the camera image, which is valuable when looking at things like fluorescence to reduce photo bleaching. However, it isn't needed by the typical bright field microscopist who automatically wants to see a live image. For people who have previously used LAS, or for people who don't need to image multiple fluorescent channels, we often recommend using LASX Easy Mode, which removes a lot of the non-applicable features and simplifies the interface. Here's how you go about setting it up. From within the main software, first select the Configuration button to the left of Acquire. Then select Activate Easy Operation Mode, also select Easy Operation Viewer, and press Automatically Activate Live Image. Lastly, if you are a previous LAS user who is used to capturing TIFF or JPEG images into folders, select the Folders Radio button. Projects are typically used when dealing with more automated microscopes where you're acquiring lots of data. If you're interested in understanding projects, we have created another YouTube video on file management using projects. When I go back to the Acquire interface, this is the display that you get. Note that I'm generating this video on my laptop, which is running in simulation mode, which shows this mechanical gear interface. When working on your microscope with your camera connected to it, you would get whatever live image you're currently looking at. There are a few things I typically like to do to customize this interface. First, note that by default, settings such as your camera settings are activated when I click on these icons on the left-hand side of the software. However, I prefer to have them permanently docked on the left-hand side of the software, and to do this, I first move this divider over, which leaves space for me to permanently place my settings, such as camera settings or my magnification control, here on the left. Once you have placed these controls where you want them, you may find it useful to adjust the size scaling of the software interface using the slider in the upper left-hand corner to the desired level. Note that if there's not enough room to fit all of your dialogues in the software, such as your folders dialog in this case, I can move the divider on the right-hand side of the software and add this dialog here, allowing you to see everything you want all at once. Note that this is the way that I've chosen to set the software up in this instance. However, you have complete freedom to set it up in whatever way you most prefer. For example, you could move your camera settings to the right-hand side and folders to the left. It's totally up to you. For now, we'll assume that this is the way that it's being set up. Now that I've customized the interface for this setup, you can see that on the upper left, you have the ability to adjust your camera controls, such as exposure time. On the middle left, you have the ability to choose your magnification. And on the right-hand side, you can reference different folders on the PC to examine previously captured images. Let's go through a typical workflow. Let's say you want to acquire a nice image that has been correctly calibrated to perform distance measurements. Furthermore, you want to make sure the color balance is accurate by performing a white balance. Lastly, you'll save it to a specific location where you can find it at a later date. Here's how you do it. First, adjust the exposure slider to the desired brightness. If you prefer, you can also select the auto exposure and adjust the brightness to the desired level. Now, do a white balance. To do so, press the right mouse button and drag a rectangle over a region of your sample that you know is white. Depending on your setup or application, it may be helpful to remove your sample altogether when doing bright field, for example. Or if you're working on a reflected light stereo microscope, you might want to add something that is white to the light path, like a white piece of paper. Once the white balance has been completed, just press the Capture Image button at the bottom left-hand corner. On a manual microscope, by default, the software is set up to always ask you what magnification you are using to capture the image. This ensures that the pixels have been properly calibrated, enabling you to perform distance measurements or add scale bars. It also prompts you to give the image a user-defined image name. Both of these automatic features can be deactivated if you prefer. To deactivate the magnification prompt, Select the Configuration tab, temporarily Activate Easy Operation Mode. Now on the right-hand side, deselect Confirm Magnification Before Acquisition, then reactivate Easy Operation Viewer, and now when you go to acquire an image, it won't prompt you for magnification. To turn off the name saving auto prompt, you need to set the acquisition folder button within the folders tab to a folder that you automatically want to use when capturing an image. Once you've selected this, it won't prompt you to give the image a name. The last thing I will share is how to add a scale bar and distance measurements. To add a scale bar, hover over the scale bar icon on the right-hand side of the image and select the scale bar. Notice it automatically adds this to your image. You can customize the location of the scale bar using the arrow features in the scale bar dialog. You can also customize the line color, thickness, and background. By default, when I add a scale bar, it isn't permanently burned into the image. It's simply represented as a visual layer, but can be removed. If you would like to have the scale bar permanently burned in, you can do so either on the fly by first pressing the Show or Hide Scale Bar button, then press the Show or Hide Individual Overlays button. And now you will see the capture icon in the lower left-hand side of the software changes slightly. Now, when you capture images, a scale bar will automatically be burned in. A second option is to right-click on any image that's currently active and press the Export Image button. And from this step, you can select that you would like to have the scale bar permanently burned into the image. To make distance measurements, again, hover over the scale bar icon and select the annotation tools. When this dialog opens, you can select the distance line tool and simply start adding as many distance measurements as you'd like. Similar to the scale bar I showed you before, you can completely customize the visual properties such as color, thickness, etc. That concludes this video tutorial. If you have any additional questions, please reach out directly to your Leica Advanced Workflow Specialist. Thank you.